or doing more Warhammer from the car. Seems like the only place I get to actually do videos. But anyway, we're doing a 1,000-point Raven Guard list as requested by somebody. We'll do Shadowmark Talon. The reason why I actually like Shadowmark Talon in a 1,000-point game is because you have obviously half the points, so theoretically close to half the units, and therefore with the same size of board, therefore there's a little bit more space, and you have the uppy downy stuff that Shadowmark gives you in a first turn deep strike, and with Sean, it gives you that uppy downy for free in one unit. So that might not be that bad of a deal running Shadowmark on a 1,000-point, because the board's going to be a little more spread out, and you want to be able to move units. So for me, Ethan Sean is going in the list for sure. Now, I like Shrike still. You take both the characters because you can do a number of things with Shrike. Shrike, well, when he's with Ethan, you got to run him with somebody. So you run Shrike with either JPI or a 5-man brick of the Vanguard Vets with Inferno pistols, points and pinned it when you get into that area there. JPI, I mean, you're getting the extra OC, you're getting the Mortals, you're getting a plasma pistol here and there, and some attacks, grenades, and then with the Vanguard Vets, you're getting, 5 Inferno shots, and then you're also getting lethal hits. I like the Vanguard Vets because you get the lethal hits for, especially Shrike, and with his precision shots. You can always throw grenades and then go in there. But anyway, so that's what I preferably run. Now, the other character that I run, hanging on, is a Combi Lieutenant, or you could run, now that the points have gone up on him, because you put the Vect on him, and that gives you a 115-point unit now. So you could actually run the Cladius Assassin instead, but you're not going to go wrong with running the Combi Lieutenant with that enhancement. And you think about it, he's got a reactive move, and he's got the Vect, and he's got reroll wound rolls of 1 on an objective. So he does some things for the army. Plus he's stealth. He's got a 5-up feel no pain and all that other jazz. So I'll have him on there just to make it a full Raven Guard army, I guess. If you have the assassin, you get a little more uppy. You get another uppy downy unit, which that's cool. But you might not need it. So anyway, you got those guys. I run in Shadowmark. You got to run intercessors for sticky objectives. So, and especially on a 1,000-point where the game's a little more spread out, you want to be able to sticky and not have to worry about it. So you sticky objectives, you want intercessors. Plus they got pretty good shooting, and you get one guy with like a thunder hammer or something. That's how I run them. From there, sorry, you want to choose your anti-tank, and you can do scent devs with blast cannons and nipple rockets or whatever the D3 blast weapon is. That's what I'd probably run, to be honest. Or you could run a Lancer or something like that. You also want a melee unit. So in this list, 5-man of Assault Terminators, there's 4 wound bodies. This time you want to run the Thunder Hammers. Not only that, is they have deep strike, so you can up you down them if you need to. You could use them as rapid ingress. But they're 4 wound bodies, 2 up, 4 up, with the negative, with the benefit of cover and -1, plus you AOC them. They're a beast to remove, especially in a 1,000-point game. Then you go to another like deep strike unit, and I like Inceptors. Inceptors have saved games for me, I don't know how many times, whether it be shooting or just scoring. Just scoring in general, just to be able to go over there and put a unit for extended battle lines, or engage in all fronts, or secure no man's land, or whatever it is. Having them around, usually I like 2 units, but in a 1,000-point, you use the 1, right? So you have them in there. And I think that's it, but I think I'm right about 1,000 points. Anyway, I think I turned my camera around, it turned me off. That is the list. 1,000 points. It's should do you pretty well in utilizing strat. You got to utilize the strats though. You know, uppy downy. So you're gonna uppy downy a unit, probably a turn. You're gonna make sure you sticky. You're gonna uppy downy a free unit. So yeah, you got to use your Eighth and Sean on the battlefield, uppy downy. Sometimes you could actually rapid ingress him, depending on what kind of who your opponent is. But so you got free uppy downy, you got Shrike's uppy downy, and then you have effect and reactive moves. So there you go. You could probably do the same list with Vanguard Spearhead, and even make it. You could trade out the intercessors, 80 points, and if you got extra points, maybe you put something else there. Maybe you run another lone op or something. Or actually, I mean, 1,000 point list, you can't go wrong with intercessors. Maybe you do like an incursor squad or something like that. But you run Vanguard for those other strats. Either way, that's a pretty decent list. You could, like I said, there's a couple of units you can interplay with, but they all have a function. And with 1,000 points, you're talking about a spread out battlefield. Same battlefield size as a 2,000 point game by half the units. So it's a lot more spread out. The mobility of the army is what's going to get you games and win you games, and being able to utilize, you know, to move pieces where you need them. There's going to be a lot of armies struggling with that. They might be able to take an objective or two, but they can't move to score these other secondary objectives. And you can do that, and then also get angles on guys on objectives. So it's good. And you got a melee unit there, and arguably Shrike's a melee unit, but you're utilizing him more as maybe like a assassination type dude. You rapid him or put him in to score a point. You assassinate somebody. You know, he's got lone knot too, so you can. I mean, there's things you can do with them. Anyway, that's the list.